Hey, Maria, this on back continuing. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Holly says, thinking that was a good call on Izzy's part, even though Bonnie Ray Dahl isn't a child. Cops often post there if there is the missing person, young and female. Young females are by far the most common abductees, of course. They are also the most common runaways. But, she thinks, if a 24-year-old woman decides to upstake her and start over, remember, somewhere else, you can't call her a runaway. Y'all, I can't really see. I'm in the dark. Penny pulls in a shuddering breath. No help from the police. Zero, Jay says sure. She might have been abducted, but the more suggested she just left. The note suggested she just left. Only why was she? Why? She had a good job. She's in line for a promotion. She's good pals with Lakeisha, and she finally dumps that loser of a boyfriend. What's the name of the loser boyfriend? Tom Higgins. She wrinkled her nose. He worked at the shoe store out at the airport. Then the mall closed down during the first C-19 wave. He tried to move in with Bonnie to save on the rent, but she wouldn't let him. They had a big fight about it, but both told him they were alone. He laughed and she couldn't fire him. He quit. Like it was original, you know. Probably he thought it was. Do you think he had anything to do with Bonnie's disappearance? No. She folded her arms across her chest as if to say that ends the subject. Harley waits, a technique Bill Hodges taught her. The Penny finally fills the silence. That man could barely blow his own nose without an instruction video. Also very immature. I never knew what Bonnie saw in him, and she could never explain it. Harley, a fan of the hunks on Bachelors in Paradise, had a good idea what Bonnie may have seen in him. She doesn't want to say it and doesn't have to. Penny says it for her. He might have been terrific in the sack, a real 60-minute man. Do you have the address? Penny consults her phone. 2395 Eastern Avenue. Although I don't know if he's still there. Harley records it. Do you have a picture of the note? Let's see. Penny does say Lakeisha photographed it when Marvin Brown bought the bike. Harley studied it, and doesn't like what she sees. Black letters, all caps, carefully made. I had enough. Is this your daughter, Quentin? Penny gives a sign that says she's at her wit's end. It might be, but I can't be sure. My doesn't do handwriting. None of them do these days, except for their signature, which you could barely read, just scribbles. She doesn't usually print in all big letters, but if she wanted to be, I don't know. Empathetic? Yes, then she might. She could be right, Harley thinks, but if that were the case, might she not have printed in even bigger caps? Not I had enough, but I have enough. Maybe even with an explanation point or two. No, Harley doesn't care for that. Doesn't care for this note at all. She's not ready to believe Bonnie didn't write it, but she's far from ready to believe that Bonnie did. Please forward this along with the photos of your daughter. What about you, Penny? Where do you live? Renner Circle, 883 Renner in Upper River. Harley adds it to her notes, where she had also written P and B. And what do you do? I'm the chief loan officer at the North Bank branch on the Turnpike extension at the airport. At least I was, and I assume I will be again. North Bank has temporarily closed three of their stores. We called them stores, and one of them was mine. Not working from home? No, I still getting paid though. One ray of sunshine in all this. This was. this mess. Which reminds me, I need to give you a check. She opened up her bag and started rooting through it. You must have more questions too. I will have, but I got enough to get it started on. When would I hear from you? Penny is writing a check quickly and efficiently, not pausing at any of the fields, and not printing either, but writing in a small, rolling, tightly controlled script. And I'll be back, y'all.